principles of management. This is your unit 2, principles of management. What do you mean by principles of management? Principles means the fundamental truths, or principles means the general guidelines that explains how to take decision by the managers. Manager, while taking decision, take the help of the principles of management. So principles of management are general guidelines for managers while taking decisions. Whenever any manager wants to take any type of decision, then there is a requirement of principles of management. Principles of management helps managers while taking any type of decisions. In this lecture, we are studying about the 14 fundamental principles of management. 14 fundamental principles of management. 14 fundamental principles of management, also known as general principles of management, general principles of management, or also known as administrative principles of management. Administrative principles of management. 14 principles of management. If in question they are saying explain 14 principles of management, or general principles of management, or administrative principles of management, your answer will be same. These are the 14 principles. These are the 14 principles given by Henry Fayol. Given by Henry Fayol. HenryFayol. Henry Fayol. Who is Henry Fayol? Henry Fayol is known as father of administrative management. Father of administrative management. Henry Fayol is known as the father of administrative management. He has given 14 principles of management. He works at top level management in France company, and whatever he saw there, on these basis he has given 14 principles of management. So today we will explain here 14 principles given by Henry Fayol. What are these principles? See, first principle is division of work. According to Henry Fayol, every work must be divided. In an organization, whenever you are doing a work, that very work must be divided and subdivided among different parts. And only one part is allotted or given to one person. If that person will complete only one part of one work, he will become expert in that very work. So, to get the benefit of specialization, to get the benefit of expertization, division of work is necessary. Division of work is necessary. The main advantage of division of work is specialization. And vaulting effect of division of work is that there will be no expertization, there will be no specialization, work will not be completed in time, and there will be wastage of resources. So work must be divided among different parts, and one part is given to only one person, that is division of work. Second principle given by Henry Fayol is authority and responsibility. Authority and responsibility. According to Henry Fayol, The second principle is authority and responsibility. Authority, what is authority? Authority means the power to command others. Authority means to take decisions. Responsibility. Responsibility means the work given by your superior and you have to complete that work. According to Henry Ford, authority and responsibility must be same, must be equal and of same nature. If you are giving any type of responsibility to a person, it is your duty that you must give same authority to that person. If you are giving a peon some work, then it is your duty that you give the authority also to complete that task. That is authority and responsibility. Authority must be equal to responsibility, not less than responsibility, not more than responsibility. If authority is more, employee will misuse the authority. If authority is less than responsibility, he will be unable to complete the responsibility. So authority and responsibility must be equal and of the same nature, according to Henry Ford. Third principle given by Henry Ford is discipline. Discipline. According to Henry Ford, in an organization where you are doing some work, there must be some type of discipline. If there will be no discipline, there will be no work, there will not be achievement of any type of objective. There must be some type of discipline. If you are doing job in an organization, it is your duty, whether you are employer or your employee. Employer and employee both have the duty that there must be maintenance of discipline. Discipline means maintenance of rules and regulations. Obey rules and regulations of that very organization. Only then the achievement of objective is possible. Otherwise, objective of organization cannot be possible. Moreover, to maintain the discipline in an organization, you can use positive and negative approach. Both type of approach you can use as per the circumstances. Positive approach means you can appreciate the employee and can maintain the discipline. Negative approach means you can punish the employee and can maintain the discipline, but discipline must be maintained at any cost. This is the third principle of 14 principles of management. Next is equity. Principle of equity. This is the principle given by Henry Ford. Equity. Equity means equality. Equality means equality among the employees doing work under you. You should not be partial while dealing with the employees. You should have same behavior with every employee, because every employee is important for you. You should not be partial while behaving with the employees. You should think that each and every employee is my asset, my human asset, and every employee is equally important for me, and I should not be partial with these employees. This is the next principle of management. Next is remuneration. Remuneration means salary. Remuneration means salary. Salary given by an organization to the employees is known as remuneration. According to Henry Ford, remuneration must be given in time to the employees. If you will not give employees salary or remuneration in time, what will happen? They will not be able to complete the task in time. Their motivation, their morale will be down. Moreover, remuneration will be equal to their work. It will not be less than the work. Next principle is unity of command. Unity of command. According to Henry Ford, unity of command must be followed in any type of organization. Unity of command means one person should get order only from one boss at one time. If one person will get order from many bosses, what will happen? He will be unable to complete the order of any officer. he will give excuses that I am doing the work of that officer, I am doing the work of that person. So he will not complete the task of any employer or any person or any officer. So it is the duty of the organization that unity of command must be followed at one time. One person should get order only from one boss at one time. That is unity of command. Next is unity of direction. Unity of direction. What is unity of direction? According to Henry Ford, unity of direction must be followed in any organization. Unity of direction means that there should be one head and one plan. If you are doing any type of work, there must be only single plan. If there will be more plans, then there will be chaos and mess up in the organization, and objective of organization cannot be achieved. So there must be only single plan and single head while doing the work. This is the unity of direction given by Henry Ford. Next is centralization and decentralization. Centralization and decentralization. Centralization. Centralization means power should be only in single hand. Decentralization means power should be spread all over the organization, even at the lowest level. So, do you think there must be complete centralization or complete decentralization in the organization? No. 100% centralization is not possible. 100% of decentralization is not possible. It means employer or superior should keep important power in his hand, and unimportant powers can be spread to the lowest level to the employees. That is decentralization. So there must be optimum centralization and optimum decentralization in an organization while doing the work. There must not be 100% centralization and decentralization in the organization. This is better that there must be optimum centralization and decentralization in the organization. Next is subordination. Subordination of individual interest. Individual interest to general interest. Subordination of individual interest to general interest means individual interest means the interest of the employees and general interest means the interest of the organization. Am I clear? Individual interest means the interest of the employees. Employees always think about their salary. Our salary must be increases. This is the interest of the employee or the individual. General interest means the interest of the organization. Organization always think that profits of the organization must be increases at any cost. So according to Henry Ford, we should think about general interest of the organization, not the individual interest of the organization. If general interest of the organization will achieve, if once of profits of the organization will increase, then individual interest will automatically achieve. Individual objective of employee will automatically achieve. That means automatically salary of employees will increase. So we should follow general interest, not the individual interest in an organization. Next, stability of tenure. According to Henry Ford, the employees doing work under you, their job must be of stable, their job must be of permanent nature, so that employee can give their 100% in your organization. If their job is not stable, their job is not permanent, then they will always think that we should shift to the next job. Whenever they will get any type of chance, they will shift to the next job and they will never be loyal to your organization. So, if you want to get the loyalty of the employees, it is your duty that the job of your employees must be stable and permanent nature in an organization. Next is persons doing work in that organization, and this chain must be followed while doing the work. This chain must not be break while doing the work. I am explaining this by a diagram. Suppose there are some employees doing the work in your organization: A, B, C, D, E and F, G, H, I, J and K. If B employee want to communicate with the I, then B must communicate to the C, then C communicate to D, D communicate to E, F, G, H and then I. B cannot directly communicate to the I. He should follow the complete scalar chain while communicating I. This is called scalar chain, and the drawback of scalar chain is that sometimes there can be important opportunities that we have to achieve or we have to avail, and whenever we are using this type of long chain, that opportunity can be missed. So in case of emergency, we can break the chain and we can directly contact with that person whom we require. We can directly communicate to the I only in some emergency situation, only some exceptional situation. That is called gangplank. That is called gangplank. 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 Gangplank means breakage of the chain in case of emergency. Otherwise, if we are following the complete chain, that is called scalar chain. Am I clear? Your next principle is principle of initiative. Principle of initiative. According to Henry Ford, employee must take some type of initiation while doing the task. It is not possible that we should give him the task, only single task, and he should complete that very task only. If he has some knowledge of other work, he should take initiate in that very work also, according to Henry Ford. And next is Esprit de Corps. Esprit de Corps. According to Henry Ford, we should follow the principle of Esprit de Corps. It means unity is strength. Union is strength. We should do work in team. We should do work in team. We should ignore I and we should use we word while doing the work. If we will do work in team, we can achieve all the objectives of individual and general in the organization. This is all about the principles given by Henry Ford. Am I clear?